Chris, we talked a lot about kind of turnovers affecting offense. Are there any other things that you guys are working on clean up or doing differently to bring the offensive rating up to where you need it to be?
Yeah, a couple things. One is, we're trying to work on our spacing around some of these defenses that Ant's now seeing more and more of, like, delay blitz traps type stuff, overloads. That's one thing. And transition, we're still trying to get better in transition. We feel like there's a lot to be gained there still,
Have those delayed blitzes and things, has that kind of evolved as the season's gone along? Are there newer things that you're seeing?
Yeah, we're seeing them at a higher frequency where, now they require a lot more time and attention for sure.
What does Ant have to do in those spots?
Well, it's just, see them coming, recognize, what it really is and how, where his best outlets are mostly, so.
You don't have all these many practices at this stage in the season. When you get a veteran team, can you teach them almost with video without practices? Are practices important? Or?
Yeah, we do a lot of video work here, whether it be individual or team, and it's the center of not only teaching but our accountability. How do we get better? How do we point out mistakes, trends that are going the wrong direction? Also, themes. A lot of themes through video. We don't just throw up every single mistake. We look for the themes that matter most, the things that we could try to correct, right now, quickly. And then, the practice piece, even if it's just a kind of a walkthrough or low-intensity practice, where you're picking up on the themes from the video room to the practice floor. That's the best connectivity to, I think, correct in advance, so.
Do you do a lot of that on your own, or is that
No, it's a staff-wide.
You say this is what I want to see?
Well, we talk about the trends. A lot of times after games, we'll say, hey, these are things that we're seeing for the edit tomorrow. Let's have this ready. And if the edit doesn't bear it out, then, of course, we go a different direction. But, it's a staff-wide endeavor, really. So.
What do you like about the mentality of this team when it comes to finishing a game, especially coming off the Clippers where they kind of were making a surge? But
yeah, it was good. We held on there enough, made enough plays. Every kind of finishing situation's a little different. The Boston one was a lot of mistakes by us. A lot of really good plays by them, but a lot of mistakes by us, turnovers, blown coverages on defense. This one, first of all, it was good to bounce back and win. When a team's closing you down like that. When we failed to do that in Dallas or we failed to do that in Boston. But this was the hack of Rudy strategy is also difficult to play through sometimes, and we got to do a better job of when a team is doing that, what we're willing to live with at the other end of the floor. We can't go 1 for 2 from the line and give up threes. You just can't do that. So you can't foul and you can't turn it over. And we did all those things at one point in a 3-4 minute stretch is what tightened up the game. So still a lot to learn from.
But is it
You look
possible?
disappointed.
No.
Perpetually.
But is it possible to sustain the level of defensive excellence you guys have exhibited at home, on the road?
Carry over to the road, you mean?
Is it possible to play that same level of defense? The numbers bear out that they're very different, and eye test says they're kind of different too. Is it possible? What's the challenge of trying to take the way that this team has pretty consistently played defensively at Target Center and carry it out to the road? Yeah,
I think better starts on the road would help. I feel like we have slow starts defensively on the road. I'd like to see if us get off to better starts. What happens on the road is generally opposing teams' role players make shots at a higher level than they do on the road. So that's a variance you got to try to account for. Maybe tighten up those guys a little bit more. And then obviously just some momentum swings in the game will hurt you in transition or on the glass, that kind of stuff. So yeah, but our goal is to. How's that?
Makes sense.
What's the biggest improvement Nas Reed has made in your mind?
The biggest
improvement this year?
I think it's just overall kind of he's at peace with who he is as a player. He plays fast, but doesn't rush. Doesn't live and die with all of his mistakes. He's maturing as a player. Things used to snowball on him. That doesn't happen anymore. That's the mental side to me. Just the maturity and growth there has been impressive. Defensively, he's other than fouling a little bit too much at times. He's really taking the challenge of guarding. I mean, we had him on Norm Powell chasing off screens the other day, doing a lot of things that he hasn't traditionally done, and he's gotten better at it. It was a big point of emphasis in the summer for him, so he put the work in, and I'm really glad to see that, you know, he's enjoying the success that that's bringing for him personally.
Chris, you mentioned a few times it's a team that likes to play. You don't really have any guys that want or need to take half a back-to-back off.
Yeah.
So what's your overall sense of, like, just the freshness and health of this team kind of around mid-season?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's. I mean, I would say if we, you know, a couple weeks ago we were pretty fatigued. You know, a lot of things going on, travel, holidays, tough schedule, all that. Guys feel fresher right now. It feels like we have our mojo back in a lot of different ways, which is important to us. You know, we have a 3 and 4 here, which is, you know, we had one I think last week too. So yeah, so it's important for us as coaches to make sure that we keep them in the right kind of pace to be able to play those games fresh. But it feels like it's pretty good right now. You know,
could be kind of dependent on game situation, but like what time on like the shot clock do you like actions to start by?
Just like in the regular flow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd certainly like to be into the offense a little quicker than we are. I mean, within, I would say, 4 to 5 seconds. We're usually 6 to 8 seconds, you know.
How much does that free up if you can do that?
It frees up a lot. I mean, it frees up usually one more play and a pass, you know, at least with a couple seconds you can make a play and a pass. And I think the more importantly is, like, we don't put the offense on their heels enough early at the end of transition. So to me, it's more about that, you know, and getting them, because we can be in the paint within 7 or 8 seconds, and then we know something good's going to happen. So.
Chris, were you sticking with Rudy no matter what through that hacka when they went to it, or like how do you play that?
I mean, that's my intention all the time right now. But no, I pulled him when I had the chance to after he missed a couple, and we had given up some threes. So I was like, okay, we could shut down the 3-point line, give him the next 2 minutes on the bench, and then and finish with him. You know, so.
Thoughts on the Eagles?
No, thank you. No comment.